Good morning and welcome to the wilderness of Dartmoor. And I truly am in the wilds this morning. I walked 5.5 kilometres to get here, so it could be about an hour and a quarter, and I've come to a place called Oke Tor. It's not only wild by name, but it's wild by nature. Yes, I'm at a place called Oke Tor this morning, and it is pretty wild by nature. It is in probably one of the most remote places you can go to in Dartmoor. There's a couple more remote places, but this is about as feasible as you can do by walking here first thing in the morning. It has been a bit of an effort getting here, but I'm hoping it's going to be worth it. But I'll tell you more about the journey later on. Got to get on with the business of photography because I'm just having a look over there. The sun, it is past sunrise, but there's a bank of cloud over there and the sun is just about to peak above the horizon. Now, I've never photographed Oke Tor before, so it's going to be a bit of an adventure for me. I will be shooting other places in this video as well, so I'm going to have a bit of an adventure this morning. So when that sun pops up, I'm going to have a little look about, see if we can find a composition, which I'm pretty confident we can. Like I say, I've walked up here before, but I never photographed it, so this is a new location for me, and I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be one of those mornings where the light comes and goes, which can be quite good because standing here, setting up my composition, taking some shots, the light was lovely as it cast itself across the rock, but the sun's just gone behind a bank of cloud now. It was forecast for clear blue skies, but weather in Dartmoor can be pretty localised, especially when you come out to these remote parts, so I'm sure it's going to blow through. Let me talk about the composition. So first thing I've got one of the main rock stacks out there, and on its own that would be a bit dull. But what I've got here is this row of rocks here, and they look like, you know, a bunch of stack of pancakes all stacked on top of each other. There's these little clumps of those stacks, and they kind of run across there from the corner of the frame out, and they almost kind of create a natural frame for that bigger rock stack out there. In fact, there comes the sun again now, and then down here to hold the foreground, because there's nothing in the sky, so I've kind of dipped the camera down a little bit, so I don't need the sky, it's just blue. And taking more of these Dartmoor grasses, which are just catching the light now. Here we go, actually, this is quite good. I told you, the sun would come back out. I just checked my focus, just getting that light on the grasses there. It's brilliant. Take the shot, 2-second timer, check it on the back of the screen. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's a good start anyway, and I think there's plenty more still yet to discover. So I found my next composition. So I've come a little bit further back from that original one and I've come up into these rocks here. And what I like about this particular composition is the rocks here, they've got a nice surface texture, there's some lines in them, but they kind of curve out towards that other stack that I had in my foreground there. And they create this nice sweeping curve throughout the frame. I've got that main rock stack again in the middle of the frame. I'm trying a few variations of the composition, trying to adjust where that curve starts and ends, and I'm just waiting for it to catch the light. The sun is coming in and out all the time, but when it does come in, it catches that grass and it catches the little undulations and the scoring in the stone, and it really lifts the composition. Now the reason I'm down here with a tripod quite low is that main rock stack at head height is just touching the top of the horizon and the hill behind it, so it kind of almost blends in. It's really difficult to get it completely separated from that distant hill though, so even this low down, it's only just above, and actually probably when you see it on the screen it probably doesn't look that different. And the trouble is when you come much further down, this foreground gets a lot bolder, so I don't know, it might be better, it might be just as well done at head height than being down here, so I'll take a couple of options and see what happens. And again, as if on cue, here comes the sun, it's catching the grasses and the undulations, so I'm going to take some more shots. I have to say, it's pretty cool this morning. I know I'm talking about the cloud blocking the sun, but it's all the cloud over the hills there. It's making the whole place look quite atmospheric. Apologies for the funny camera angle, but I'm perched up on a rock and it's a bit windy. I don't really want to bring my other camera up here. But what I've got here is I've got these foreground rocks here, getting lots of texture, lots of layers, catching a little bit of the light. And I've got the camera in a vertical orientation as it leads out into that main stack that I've been photographing. But one of the key advantages of me being up here is that rock stack now has been completely separated from all the hills. So it's actually nestled nicely just below the rolling hills which are catching the light. So there's a nice bit of separation there, so you can really see that rock stack stand out. The light's gorgeous. Now I'm shooting vertical, but I almost certainly will crop this later on because there's nothing happening in the sky. So it's going to be most likely a 4 to 5 crop. I'm not sure it's a composition that 100% works, but when you're out having fun, it's nice to do a bit of experimentation. I just love all these patterns in the rock, all those layers. It's just really photogenic. Woo, what a morning. Sun is well and truly out. So I think I'm probably done with the photographs here at Wild Tor. But there's a couple of reasons I'm out this morning. First of all, I wanted to photograph Wild Tor. Like I say, I'd never photographed it before, have walked up here. So it's really good to have a proper look about with a camera and pick out some compositions. I think it's a location that I'm definitely going to have to return to. Though I do need to make sure that I give myself plenty of time to walk here. I think it's about 1 hour and 15 it took, and particularly at winter when there's a lot of water in those rivers, they were quite tricky to get across. Only just made it. But probably when I come back next time, I want to do some wild camping. I'd like to do this location both at sunset and sunrise. I think it would work quite well. So this is also to scope out the possibility of doing that. So quite excited to come back again. And the other reason I'm out today is the longest, sorry, it's not the longest day, it's the shortest day of the year. So for a couple of reasons, that gives me the opportunity to photograph, hopefully, Dartmoor throughout most of today, or certainly the sun will be in a low position for longer, so it should hopefully give me a few more photographic opportunities. So I think that's not looking as likely or as fruitful as I thought it might do. It is pretty clear blue skies. It was forecast and it's quite hazy on the horizon, so conditions aren't ideal, but I've got a long walk back. I've got a few locations to pop by, so there'll be we'll see what we can see. I mean, the view is spectacular. I can see Bellstone there. I'll move over. There is Steeperton, which is where I'm going to go next. And then over there, what have we got? We've probably got East Mill Tor, West Mill Tor, Yes Tor, and probably High Wellhays up there as well. So I can see for absolutely miles. It's a cracking location. But yes, I have finished here. I'm going to walk to Steeperton. We'll see what we can get. And if not, I know it's a fantastic view up there. And then we'll just take it from there. Welcome to Steeperton Tor, and what a view it is. It's one of my favourite views of Dartmoor, all the way down towards Bellstone there. Unfortunately, not ideal for photography. Yeah, it's windy, but there's still clear blue skies and there's a bank of haze on the horizon, which just means that the photograph's just not going to look that great, I wouldn't think. I'll grab a shot anyway, might as well since I'm here, but I think I'll get my bag and we'll move on to the next location and we'll see if that's any better. Well, if you think that looked dodgy there, I had to do that earlier this morning in the dark. Just check out that view. Isn't it amazing? And this is why I love Dartmoor, especially when you get out, right out into the wilderness, just the rolling hills of moorland. It's just beautiful, especially at this time of year. Okay, the photography's had to take a back seat for a few hours, but I'm really enjoying the walk because it's just beautiful on a day like this. Can't think of a better way to spend the day. Oh, just check out that view. Another great Dartmoor view. So I've come to Oke Tor, and the conditions for the most part have largely improved. It's got a lot windier, that's one problem, but there's a lot more cloud about now. There can be some texture in the sky. It's also diffusing and breaking up that sunlight. So what that means is I'm getting nice dappled light on across Dartmoor, and it's also not too harsh on these rock formations so it looks too contrasty. So I can actually get some okay shots. Now I've been up on top of Oke Tor. Unfortunately I can't do any filming up there, it's just too windy. I can only just handle that camera. But I have got some pleasing shots, and actually it's quite a nice way to finish the morning session because, believe it or not, it's 1:45 already, which means I think sunset's in about 3.5 hours. So I'm going to put the shots I've taken up on the screen, and I'm going to head back to the car, which is not too far away, have some lunch, and I'm going to have a think about where I'm going to shoot for sunset. Probably somewhere close by, I think. I don't have a lot of time. Anyway, see you in a bit. It's at this point I start having a couple of problems with the production of this video. Well, to be fair, the problems probably started a few hours ago, but before I tell you all about that, let me share with you a couple of the images that I did capture from Yes Tor. So clearly the good news here is that I managed to capture 2 photographs from Yes Tor. The bad news is I obviously wasn't able to complete the on-location part of this video. And the reason for this is that I managed to deplete the battery in the receiver of my Rode Wireless 2 Go system. Completely my fault. What had happened was, at the end of filming that first part of this video, I decided I might just squeeze in the filming of another video. It was only going to be a short video, so it wasn't going to take me very long. However, anyone that creates videos knows that even short videos take longer than you think. So probably me trying to squeeze in the creation of another video between 2 locations on the shortest day probably wasn't going to be a good idea. With so little time before sunset, I had no choice but to try and get up to Yes Tor, which is all uphill, so it was a bit of a struggle to get up there. So I managed to rush all the way up, and then when I got to the top, I realised that my microphone battery was dead. Even worse than that, I had packed a second microphone, one that doesn't require battery, but I'd left that in the car. So, as a result of trying to do way too much on the shortest day of the year, I was hungry because I missed out on breakfast and lunch. I was knackered because I'd had to run to the top of Yes Tor, which is really the only location I could have gone to with the amount of time I'd left myself after creating that second video. And then, when I got to the top, I had no microphone and couldn't finish filming this video. there's no way I'm ending this video on that kind of a sad note. No way, because at the end of the day, my videos don't define the success of one of my trips out with the camera. Okay, I love creating these videos and I love sharing them with everyone, and it brings me a great deal of satisfaction to create and edit these videos and then publish them to share my landscape photography journeys. But at the end of the day, every time I make one of these videos, it's about going out with the camera and taking photographs. And while I didn't get a chance to finish this video in the way that I wanted, I still captured some landscape photographs. So why am I back here? Well, I'm back here to do one of the most exciting bits of any landscape photography adventure. Is now that I've edited the images, I'm going to make some prints, because that, for me, is the most important part of any photography trip out with the camera and creating those images, is to bring them to life by printing them. To make my prints, I'll be using my Canon Imageprograph Pro 300 printer. This has been my go-to printer for some time now. If you want to know a bit more information about it, I have done a video on this printer. I'll include a link for that in the corner of the screen and down in the video description below. Obviously, printer is one thing. I also need to pick some papers. Now, I use Photospeed papers, and I'm probably today going to use a Platinum Gloss Art Fiber 300 and the Platinum Etching 285. All I need to do is load the paper, switch on the printer, and hit that print button. And here we have my first print. This is the image of Wild Tor, and this is on the Platinum Gloss Art Fiber 300. And that's what all my photography is about. So even if things go wrong out in the field and I don't get videos and my batteries run flat, knowing that I got this image and I made this print, that's what gives me the most excitement, the most joy from my photography. And the other one I've done here is this one of Oke Tor vertical format picture. And this is on the Platinum Etching 285, and I think it looks glorious. They always look much better in print than they do on the screen. Really happy with that. So just to let you know, I've put these in my mountain boards. So I just reuse these. So I just tape them in and I swap the photographs out as I want to cycle on, and I put these up in the wall for me to have a look at. And these will provide a great deal of inspiration for me next time I want to go out to Dartmoor. Now you may be wondering why I've only printed 2 images. Well, that's because I've run out of ink. But I'm not going to go into the reasons why I've run out of ink. I'm just happy that I've got my 2 prints there, and I'm going to put these up on the wall, and they're going to remind me of what a fantastic day I had. Well, I do hope you have enjoyed this video, and I know it's been a little bit all over the place, but I guess the advantage of that battery around out and not being able to finish the video on location was I've been able to show you that when I get home, I always like to create a print. And like I said, that is a really important part of the photographic process for me, is to make that print. And I do it every time I go out and I take pictures. I'll come home and edit them, and I'll print them. I'll put them in these little mounted boards, and I'll put them up on my wall, my little picture shelf, and I just look at them and appreciate them and learn from them as well. But like I say, thank you for joining me in this video. If you have enjoyed it, leave me a comment. Let me know, have you had any sort of disastrous photography trips? Do you print your images out when you get home? Do let me know in the comments below. And if you do like it, remember to hit that like button, share the video, all that great stuff. I really do appreciate it, and it will really help the channel. But that's it for me. I do hope to see you again soon in another photographic adventure, hopefully with all the batteries charged up. But until then, I'll see you then.